Good morning, everyone, or actually, I guess good afternoon. Today is March 9th. It's a Tuesday, and it's noon or 12 o'clock. As always, as our new protocol or schedule allows, this recording will be re-aired today at 8 p.m. on our closed circuit television channel, and will be available on our YouTube channel as well. I will send links out to this recording on a group email today. So I've got lots of things to talk about today, and I would encourage all of you to contact me with questions if you do have them. After this broadcast today, I do have back-to-back meetings until I have to leave today at 2 p.m. Or right after the virtual birthday greeting in order to attend a wake. So if I don't get back to you this afternoon, I will respond either this evening or tomorrow. So first and foremost, at this point, all residents should have received or been made aware of the fact that we are accepting Girl Scout cookie orders. We did partner with two local Daisy troops, which are the littlest of the Brownies and Girl Scouts, to help support their cookie fundraisers this year. We had several Girl Scout troops submitted, and we selected two from a lottery. So one is here in New Paltz and one is in Hyde Park, and each of them is affiliated with a staff member or two. So we're thrilled that we're going to be able to bring Girl Scout cookies to anybody that wants them. Your order forms for independent living and assisted living should be in your mail cubbies or should have been hand delivered to you. Same thing for skilled nursing if applicable. And the instructions are there in terms of ordering cookies. And certainly if you need help filling out your form or if you have any questions, please let us know. There are, I think, 6 or 8 varieties. And just one note, for those of you that are gluten-free, the Toffee-tastic cookies are gluten-free. So you can kind of keep that in mind, and I'll make sure that the concierge knows that in case somebody forgets which one was gluten-free, and you can call and ask. So those cookie orders are going to be due into reception or concierge by the end of the day Thursday, so that we can then tabulate those and get them over to the troops in time for their deadlines, which are this weekend. And then our expectation is that the cookies that you order will be delivered here on site the second week of April. So that is time sensitive. So go ahead and get those going. The next thing I wanted to talk about is this beautiful weather. So it's beautiful out, and hopefully, like many other things related to sort of trying to turn the corner on pandemic related things, it's really, really important that everybody that can tries to get outside as many times a week as possible. At this point, we don't have any part of the community on droplet precautions, although some individuals may be based on your own circumstances or your quarantines if you're in independent living. But if you live in assisted living, or if you're in skilled nursing and you're able to go outside, try to do so. Please, please, please. You just have to sign out of the unit or let the nursing staff know. You will have to wear a mask and keep 6 feet distance from your neighbors outside on the patio if you go, or in the garden if you go. Independent living, certainly same thing. At this point, everybody's basically vaccinated. We just have a few that are not. If you wanted to go for a walk with a friend and you're both vaccinated, you certainly could feel free to take your masks off if you are keeping 6 feet distance. But we all need that vitamin D. We all need that sunshine to sanitize us and to renew us and to get outside. Just by virtue of being outside, I'm looking at a bench outside of my window right now. Go sit on the bench, say hi to people. It's time. So I hope you all enjoy that and can feel that renewal that's coming with the spring coming. We are rapidly approaching a number of things related to visitation in independent living. I have a memo out today, and right now the draft is just in the hands of concierge staff and department heads to make sure that all of the instructions and the details that I have there are clear. But it looks like we're actually going to be able to accelerate our welcoming of visitors on campus from outside to as early as this Thursday. Please don't mark me on that, because I'm just waiting for a few things to be finalized. But we do have sufficient rapid testing kits. They're here in my office. It looks like we've got the staff lined up to do the rapid testing. And so you will see an announcement, hopefully today, a written announcement that indicates when we will be able to begin those independent living visits with folks from the outside. There is a safety tip sheet that is involved with that because just as we have a safety tip sheet for the health center and those visitors as to what they should expect for a visit, we have the same kinds of protocols in independent living. And before I get into any of those details, I just want to mention something briefly, and you'll see this in my memo today. So yesterday, the CDC came out with guidelines indicating that folks that are fully vaccinated should feel a little bit more comfortable with being in very small group settings, for example, in somebody's home. And as long as both people are vaccinated, that you don't have to be as concerned about wearing a mask. The same guidance that came out from the CDC also went on to say that you should still avoid public gatherings and that you should maintain distance and you should wear a mask. So it was a little bit contradictory and it's a little bit confusing. But for the purposes of Woodland Pond, I just want to be clear that inherently, every resident of Woodland Pond is considered to be high risk because of your age and or because of health condition. So when the CDC is putting out guidance related to the general public, you'll see, and they had this in the guidance yesterday, that this is okay, but folks that are higher risk should really continue to monitor and maintain the same protocols. So nothing will be changing here on campus in terms of what we've already laid out with our reopening plans. We've already got card games, going again. We did take down the plexiglass, but we're requiring mask wearing. Participants have to be monitored and so forth. We are reopening the dining room for dinner reservations at 5 p.m. on Monday. Again, that's a monitored activity. It's deemed to be acceptable under New York State regulations as long as we have safety protocols in place and capacity limits. So yes, the CDC is indicating that if you're vaccinated, you can feel a little bit more comfortable taking your masks off, but what we will continue to do, what I will continue to do is make recommendations about the safest way to do things. So we are reopening. We are allowing certain activities within 6 feet of each other. We are permitting, certainly starting very soon, indoor visits with folks from off campus with rapid tests, but the science is still out on how much someone that's vaccinated can transmit COVID. So we still want to recommend to all of you to wear a mask and to keep 6 feet distance, particularly if you're indoors. If you're outdoors and you are with someone that's been vaccinated and you've been vaccinated yourself, you could definitely get away with not wearing your mask as long as you're 6 feet apart. But anything indoors, unless if you're eating or drinking, there's no reason to take the mask off at this point. The virus is still very prevalent and it really is the safest way to engage with others. So yes, if you want to have a snack or a drink on one of your visits, you pull your mask down, have a sip, pull it back up. We just need to wear the masks and be prepared and keep 6 feet distance because it's the way that we're going to get through this. And that's what the science is telling us. So you'll see a little bit of that in my memo. So back to visitors. So right now in independent living, we are at the point where since the beginning of the week, we've been actually since the beginning of last week, we certainly, had indicated to you that you can all feel very welcome in visiting with each other here in your homes in independent living. Of course, keeping masks on and keeping 6 feet distance, and those don't require reservations. So if you, would like to get together with folks on your floor or a friend or whatever, you can go knock on the door and have a visit. Now that it's nicer out, the more that you can keep air circulating and open windows, open doors during your visits, or have a visit out on your patio or have a visit outdoor somewhere else on campus, that's always best. We're always going to encourage, visits, anytime with as much airflow as possible or much space around you so that, there's less of a risk of transmission of any kind of illness. But certainly you should all feel in independent living comfortable visiting with each other at this point. Once we open up the campus for scheduled visits for folks that are in independent living for visitors from the outside, you will see a safety tip sheet coming from me. The basics to this are that all visits have to be scheduled through concierge. Visits will not be available 7 days a week. And the reason for that is because we absolutely have to rapid test every visitor. And we have nurses that will be doing those rapid tests, but their availability is not 7 days a week. It's usually between 5 or 6 days per week. And on those days, we're going to maximize the number of visits that we have available. We are going to allow up to 4 visitors per visit. And we're going to prioritize visits in independent living for people that do not have approved caregivers and for people that do not have a significant other in the health center. And the reason for that is because the folks that don't have approved caregivers and the folks that don't have a significant other in the health center have been the most isolated here on campus since the beginning. You're not having caregivers coming in, you're not visiting with a significant other in the health center. So it's those people that we want that haven't had a visitor, that haven't had an approved caregiver, that haven't been able to go see a significant other in the health center. Those are the people that we want to get those independent living visits with first and foremost, to try to combat the effects of the isolation that everyone's been feeling. But certainly we've got many slots. The schedule for the first 2 weeks of visiting is going to be a little bit more generous in terms of how many slots that we have, because we're trying to get lots of visitors through in the first couple of weeks, because we know how anxious all of you are. So, the schedule will change every week a little bit based on nursing availability. So the best thing for you to do is just call concierge and say, do you have an appointment on this date, or when is your next appointment? And then they'll kind of let you know that. So visitors will be able to come in, our nurses will rapid test them, and then they can proceed to your home and have a visit. We are allowing children, and all children under 18 will have to be accompanied by an adult. And again, you can have up to 4 visitors per visit. Everyone over age 3 will have to be rapid tested. So a lot of places are requiring even the littlest ones to get rapid tested. We're not going to do that. We're going to require it for those that are over age 3. And you'll see all that in the safety tip sheet. Visits will be able to go on, for several hours if you'd like to. They can, folks can visit you in your home. You can go outside. You certainly can go on your patio or such things, but no common areas. So visitors will not be able to be in the lobby, go to Dedrick's, those kinds of things, just because we're still working through a large variety or population of the public that's not vaccinated yet. So the whole purpose of these visits is to have those visitors spend time with you as a resident. So it's not important right now for them to be able to go see the pool and those other things. It's important for them to see you and spend the time with you as a resident. Eventually, once we get through a little bit more of the public being vaccinated, and we've had an opportunity to let the residents have opportunities for dining and so forth, I anticipate that we will be able to expand that. But for right now, those independent living visitors will just be for you in your home or outdoors on campus. The other thing I would just mention is that for any resident that's having a visitor that has had those visitors have been rapid tested, if you would like to go off campus with that person, if they've been rapid tested, you should feel very comfortable doing that, especially if you're vaccinated. So we can talk through that a little bit more. But once that person's been rapid tested, and once those visitors have been rapid tested, if they wanted to come to your apartment or cottage for an hour, and then you guys wanted to go take a drive, as long as they're rapid tested, I would feel comfortable doing that if I were you. In the vehicle, you should definitely wear your masks. We are strongly recommending that people don't ride in personal vehicles of the general public. But in this case, those folks are going to be rapid tested. So you can feel comfortable with that. And you can certainly call concierge and ask any questions that you have about that. So there will be a memo that comes out with specific dates about when you can start calling concierge to make visits for independent living. It's not yet, so please do not call now. I anticipate you'll be able to start calling tomorrow for visits starting on Thursday. But again, that's not definite. So please wait to see my memo before you call. Ronnie said that reservations are going very strongly for the dining room. So I'm thrilled about that. Again, we're offering seating 7 days a week for up to 30 diners. in the main dining room, and you can all make your appointments for the dining room. That's great. And, as you'll see in my memo, we are not discriminating between people that are vaccinated and not vaccinated on campus. That has not been our approach, because we do understand that, some people are not comfortable with or do not qualify for the vaccine. But if you personally are uncomfortable with dining with someone that has not been vaccinated, if you have been, then you can just gently say to that person, right now I'm not comfortable dining with someone that's not vaccinated. It has to be, you have to take some, you've got to make some decisions about your own health and about your own personal risk profile. So feel free to do that. And if you need help navigating any of those conversations or situations, you can certainly reach out to myself or to Sarah Hall, or another member of our leadership team, and we can kind of help you figure out, kind of how to navigate some of those things. The health center visits have been going strong. We are looking at continuing those and encouraging, again, people to schedule or contact their loved ones and schedule as many visits as you possibly can. Have your loved ones come and visit in the great room. Those have been going really well. And eventually soon here, we are going to get the seating areas set back up. We're going to put a visiting tent outside of the health center, and then we are going to set up those visiting tents here in independent living as well, so that folks can visit outdoors as well. Right now for the health center, so skilled nursing, assisted living, and garden view, all visits with loved ones have to be scheduled through reception, whether they're indoors or outdoors. So although you as a resident are welcome to go outdoors, no visitors are permitted outside for the health center, and that's still under the New York State regulations. So if you'd like to have a visitor, please do have yourself call reception, or your visitor or proposed visitor to call reception and make that appointment, and they'll explain that to them. But, so if you're a resident, you're sitting outside and, your daughter wants to come by and give you a quick hello or a quick kiss or so. Unfortunately, that can't happen unless it's a scheduled visit, because we have to do all the screening and the monitoring, and that's a requirement of New York State, and it's very, very specific. So if there's a moment of weakness or so, and, you think, oh, well, 5 minutes isn't going to make a difference. Because the New York State regulations are so prescriptive right now, that if you do have someone kind of surreptitiously come and say hi or give you a hello while you're sitting out on the patio, and it's not a scheduled formal visit, that is going to result in you being placed on droplet precautions and quarantine for the period of time that New York State is requiring. And that is still 14 days. So please keep that in mind. We're going to continue to reiterate that. And we have our fingers crossed and double crossed that very soon New York State is going to, allow some more leeway there, but we're not there yet. So I know that there's a lot of, it's a little bit confusing. There's a lot of details here. The best thing to do is really, if you're in independent living, if you're in the health center, reach out to a nurse or to Sarah, myself, somebody on the leadership team, and just ask the questions about whatever you're contemplating, and we'll kind of help you navigate your specific situation. And we can kind of go from there. I think that's all I had to report today. Like I said, I'm going to get all this into as condensed a memo as I can to just provide, feedback to you on that. And, if you have any questions about anything, if you're interested in a haircut and you live in the health center, Sharon, our hairdresser, is actually resuming salon services in the health center immediately. So if you're interested in a haircut, she's going to be doing room service haircuts. So she'll come door to door to you, and our staff can help you get that scheduled, and you can trim that hair up, and everybody can just, start to really feel like themselves again. And if you need anything from me, you know where to find me. Otherwise, go ahead and look for those memos, and we'll get everybody going with the next reopening steps very, very soon. Thank you.